Hello, fellow movie crusaders, and welcome to our latest episode. My name's Sean Wasserkrug. With me, as always, is Brian Michaels. You probably have seen the review for Wicked, and if you haven't, click on that and then come back here because now we are talking about Gladiator 2, the other big film that came out this year. Were you cool with them trying to combine the Barbieheimer thing, calling this Glicked?
If people wanted to do that, more power to them. I think it's stupid. I think it's forced. Of course, I also thought it was stupid and forced the first time they tried to do it back with Barbenheimer. So I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
If people are having fun with it, fine. If it makes more people go see these two movies, good. Whatever.
I honestly am probably more okay with it for Glicked than I was Barbieheimer because I
Glicked. Say it right. Glicked.
Glicked.
Like
yes. Yes, but I hated Barbenheimer thing, but but Gladiator 2. You and I both love Gladiator.
Yes.
So much. Could quote that movie. Literally was watching it last week before this, and I was quoting it the whole time while watching it with Kimberly. This was the movie that introduced me to Joaquin Phoenix. I know Brian's not a big Joaquin fan, but this was the movie that introduced me to Joaquin. This is honestly kind of, I won't say it introduced me to Russell Crowe because I always knew him as from Virtuosity with Denzel. But this was the first movie that I think I kind of like, oh, Russell Crowe's actually like a really good actor. I love that first film. It's one of my favorite films of all time. So when they announced Gladiator 2, I was timid, I guess would be the word, because it's like, do we need a sequel to this?
Well, at least it was this, because for years.
Oh, I know. Yeah, what the original plan was
like have God send him back to Earth. Well, there's many variations on it, but basically it was going to have Maximus come back as Russell Crowe, and then I guess even Russell Crowe's like, no, fuck that. So
yeah, it was like, we're not doing Clash of the Titans. Shut the fuck up.
So luckily they changed the story into one that's much more palatable. Yes.
Yeah, because the original plans for Gladiator 2 was atrocious. But I will say though, once we started to see the trailers for this, my worry started to go away. Lead Paul Mescal, he's the new It guy. Honestly, I hadn't seen him in a single fucking thing. So this is going to be my introduction to Paul Mescal. You had Denzel, you had Pedro, Connie Nielsen's back, Joseph Quinn, who we both love. I was so excited to see Joseph Quinn going to be in this. So cast-wise, I was fine with it. And then, like I said, the trailer got me more excited for it. And this became one of my more anticipated films of the year. And I don't think there was ever a part of me once the trailers came out that made me waver or think that this was not going to work, because it's Ridley Scott. Granted, bumpy road as of late. I'm literally trying to remember the last movie of his that I liked. Was it Gladiator? I'm trying to think.
Martian, maybe?
Oh yeah, I like Martian. But yeah, definitely wasn't Prometheus. Definitely wasn't Alien Covenant. Definitely wasn't Napoleon.
Gucci, Last Duel.
I hated Last Duel.
Exodus, Gods and Kings.
Nope, hated that too. Yeah, it might be The Martian was probably the last Ridley Scott film I liked. But it was like, it's Gladiator. You know, come on. He can't fuck up Gladiator. Basically from the start of the film, this takes place 16 years. Actually, it's more like 15 years after the first film, because it says 16 years after Marcus Aurelius dies. I'm pretty sure Gladiator goes probably about a year or so after his death. So it's more like 15 years after the events of the first film. Basically, and much like most of these long-running sequels, when the good guys won at the end of the first film, you think everything's great. Guess what? Fucking nothing happened. Because basically everything that Maximus tried to do at the end of the first film, yeah, that didn't work. Everything's still the fucking same. The dream of Rome never happened. There's Caesar. There's now brother Caesars, and shit's just gotten worse. Why is that a running theme? Why is that a running theme now? Anytime we get like sequels
that can't have everything be good, because then there's no conflict to have the movie set in. So you're like, well, let's just reset it and run it again.
But it's just basically like, yeah, so everything that they amounted to at the end, nothing happened. Like, oh yeah, no, they didn't save the day. Shit just went back to status quo. So that's really
it's kind of messy. Watch that. Watch the How This Should Have Ended, basically on Gladiator that just came out. It's
yeah.
amusing.
Yeah, it's only like 2.5 minutes, guys. Yeah. It's a quick fun watch. But yeah, so we are 15 years in the future. We're following Paul Mescal, is it Anders? Anders? It's like Workaholics. What the fuck's his character name in the movie?
Well, it's Lucius. He goes by Hano,
Hano, Anders, something like that. But we find out, and this isn't spoiler because you can go to IMDb and it says his fucking name. He's Lucius from the first film, the little boy, Lucilia's son that you guys all watched in Gladiator. You basically find out halfway through the film that he's Lucius. It's like, yeah, we kind of already fucking knew that, but the movie, once again, the trailers gave that away. But he's Lucius. Why he's where he's at in this and not in Rome, we find out through the film. But yeah, and it's basically kind of him going through kind of the same motions as Maximus went through in the first film. You have Denzel, who plays Marcrinus. Marcrinus, I think is how you say his name. I don't know.
Marcrinus.
It's these names are all just they're Romy. That's all I'm gonna say. They're Romy. And he kind of is his owner once he becomes a gladiator. And of course, he's got a plan, and he wants to like overthrow the emperors, played by Joseph Quinn and Fred Hershinger, Emperor Geta and Emperor Caracalica, or something like that. Shut up, Brian. You're better with names than me. I'm trying to just give a brief synopsis.
No, these are all very Romy names. That's why I'm amused. I'm letting you take care of this. Yeah,
they're Romy names. But yeah, that's kind of the general thing. But like, Pedro Pascal is General Acacius, and in the beginning of the film, Aclacius. Thank you, Kimberly. General Aclacius. The Romans attack basically the town that Lucius is a part of, and that's how he basically gets caught and becomes a gladiator. And so his motivation is to try to take out Pedro Pascal because he killed his wife. Once again, this is all in the first like fucking 5-10 minutes of the movie, guys. This is not spoilers, and it gives it away in the fucking trailer. So there's the motivations of the story. Brian, non-spoiler, and then we'll go into spoiler. What were your thoughts of Gladiator 2?
So I kind of went into this with relatively low expectations because, like I said, I love Gladiator. It's definitely not a movie that needed a sequel. Happy they didn't make the version that was floating around for the longest time. They're coming out with this, and like, okay, they found an angle. They found a way to make a Gladiator 2. You know, we knew all along. It was announced way back that it was going to be following Lucius. We didn't know why or how that would work, but we knew he was going to get started. So I'm like, okay, so I know what they're going to do the movie. Okay, they start casting it. I'm like, I don't know who this Paul Mescal guy is. They're trying to make him the new It Boy. I've never seen him in anything, so I guess I'll withhold judgment. But then they, add in Pedro Pascal, who's, hot. He's doing everything right now. They're adding in Denzel Washington. They're adding in Joseph Quinn, who at the time was just coming off of like Stranger Things. So I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. Ridley Scott's coming back. I'm in. I'm on board. I'm going to watch this movie. So the trailer comes out, and it looks pretty good. I'm not getting super excited because again, I don't, especially with the lead, I don't really know Paul Mescal that well. Go see the movie. It wasn't bad. It's like it was never going to live up to the first Gladiator. And it didn't. It definitely falls far short of the original Gladiator. There are fun gladiator battles, and they lean very heavily into using lots of CGI animals, and they try to make all the gladiator battles more exciting by being just more kind of outlandish. So in that respect, it's like, okay, it's still a fun movie. It seems like it's not taking it as seriously as Gladiator. And like you said, it is very much the same story as the first Gladiator. It feels like Gladiator. There was a movie, Pompeii. I don't know if you remember Pompeii, starring Kit Harington, came out. I remember I reviewed that movie and called it Gladiator Light because most of the movie has nothing to do with the volcano. It's basically redoing Gladiator, but with a little more, but the Paul W.S. Anderson version of Gladiator, where it's just more fun and it's glossy, not trying to be a deep drama. This kind of felt more like that to me. Because I enjoyed it, but it just was kind of forgettable. Paul Mescal, not impressed. I find the guy to be super bland. I didn't think he had much charisma. He's not a bad actor, but to be leading this movie when he's just kind of this actor who most people have never heard of, I thought that they could have done much better choosing somebody for this role. Denzel Washington, I'm not sure he was right for this role. I think Denzel was kind of playing Denzel, which he always does, but he didn't seem like he fit this world. It felt like you were watching Denzel Washington. It didn't feel like you were watching a character in this world. And so that took me out of it a little bit. Again, not a bad job, just a little distracting. But overall, it's just kind of this thing where it's like I enjoyed the movie. A little disappointed by it. I don't hold it near as high as the first one. That's
so what's your score then? Because I know we don't want to probably go too far into the non-spoiler before we jump into spoilers. So where's your score for this?
I went 3.5 stars.
3.5. Okay.
Oh, the one other thing I did want to say is I also felt this movie was a bit unfocused. It seemed like it had all these weird little side plots it kind of wanted to go in, and then like never really kind of resolved some, or got resolved super quickly. And so I thought that was the other problem with this movie. It's a little unfocused. Go ahead.
So how do you think I felt about this movie? I'm curious where you think I'm at on this. Because with Wicked, we were opposite. How do you think I felt about this movie?
I'm going to say you're about the same as me.
This movie fits this movie equals to 3 other films this year, or 2 other films this year. It's like a 3-way tie between this and 2 others as my most disappointed film of the year. I was so frustrated with this film. I wanted, much like you with Wicked, I wanted to like this movie. I really fucking wanted to like this movie. I wanted to love this movie. And you said the word, unfocused. This movie is so unfocused. There is so many moments where something needs to happen or you have to believe something because the script needs you to, and it doesn't emote it. It doesn't show it. It doesn't earn it. It's because the script tells you to, so we have to go with it. And the biggest weak link of this film is Paul Mescal. For the younger kids era, he has zero aura in this film. He's got zero charisma.
He's got no riz.
He's got no riz. Yes.
Maybe a skibbity toilet riz.
I am watching this movie, and the whole time I'm like, you are no Russell Crowe. Why am I supposed to buy into you that you are Denzel's champion when I'm seeing all these other people around you who could whip your fucking ass in this movie? There's never a moment in this movie where I feel like he's Maximus. He's this general. He's this leader. He's this guy who knows how to take people down no matter if they're bigger or taller, whatever. He doesn't really win fights. He kind of gets his ass kicked a lot. He never overcomes a challenge in this film. And there's never a point in this movie where I believe that he's the character that they want you to believe he is in this film. And if you can't buy into the fucking lead character, it's hard to buy into the rest of the fucking film. Whole time through this movie, I'm playing, who could have played this better? James fucking McAvoy, if he was younger, could have played this role fucking 1,000 times better. You know why? Because Paul Mescal is a Kmart version of James McAvoy. I fucking said it. James McAvoy could have done the exact same performance 10 times better and look 10 times better than Paul Mescal in this film. I was not impressed. He's right there with Sydney Sweeney as you're pretty to look at, but I don't fucking get you. Right there with you. Hell, Alexander Ludwig. I think he would have been great.
Oh, he would have been perfect for it.
He would have been perfect for this fucking role. He's one of the main reasons that this movie fails. Denzel is basically doing Training Day. And the problem is there's never a point in this film. Now, we love Denzel. We do. And I was never mad at him for his role in this. But he's a lot like Heath Ledger's Joker in Dark Knight. He's going to come in and do the scene the way he fucking wants to do it. And then everyone else in the scene just kind of has to react to whatever Denzel's doing. And that's what it feels like. in every scene Denzel's in. He's going to come in and he's going to do what the fuck he wants to do. Everyone else react to how Denzel's acting and follow through. He's so unmatched through this whole movie. He's in a different film than everybody else. He's in this film, which is the second half of the movie, because that's the thing. This feels like two movies thrown together by a thin string. They're connected by a very thin string. The first half of the film is a Gladiator remix that's nowhere near as good. And then the second half of the film is the overtaking of Rome, which is definitely a lot more interesting than what we got in the first half of the film. But the thread line, I felt like the Gladiator shit was thrown in there because it's Gladiator 2. The Gladiator scenes that you mentioned, they feel heartless. There's no emotion behind these scenes. There's these CGI animals that are thrown in for no reason. There's never any really cool Gladiator scenes. There's like 3 Gladiator scenes, and they just left me with more questions than like cool, like we got in the first film. They just felt unnecessary. So much of this film felt unnecessary. Pedro Pascal, he's fine. He's Pedro. I mean, he's basically playing the same kind of character he plays in fucking every movie. You're gonna like him. Why? Because Pedro's fucking lovable in everything he's in. Even when he's a bad guy, he's fucking lovable. Connie Nielsen, she's great. I have nothing against Connie Nielsen. She's great. Joseph Quinn, fucking great in this film. Not enough in this fucking movie. We needed more Joseph Quinn.
I agree with that. Now this is before he was cast in. This is before Quiet Place. This is before he was cast in the upcoming Fantastic Four. So he's just coming off Stranger Things. So I understand why he has a small role. But yes, especially now where his career is headed, I'm like, I would have wanted to see more of him.
Even
both the emperors. I want to see more of those emperors. The two.
Well, exactly, because the whole point of the first film was Caesar, and Joaquin viewed the scenery of that role, and he deserved the scenery of that role. And he did such a great job with it. These emperors were unique. Yes, Ferd Herchinger was basically kind of doing Joffrey from Game of Thrones, a little too much, but at least it was something different. And Joseph Quinn, take Quiet Place, take Fantastic Four, take Stranger Things out of the equation. He was bringing just something to the role with his face. Like every scene he had, you just knew he's thinking of so many things going on. He's the thinker. And like he's having these scenes where he's talking to Paul Mescal and he's talking to Denzel or he's talking to his brother. And you're like, I want to delve more into this character. This character's intriguing. It's interesting. But no, we don't get, because they want to focus on Paul. And it's just, you're focusing on the least interesting character of the movie. And these two guys, these two emperors, they're the fucking most colorful part of the film outside of Denzel. And Denzel's colorful for the wrong reasons. These guys are colorful for the right reasons. At the end of the day, this movie just felt unneeded. It's so unfocused, like you said. There's so much crap in here just for crap. And there's so many problems in this film with the characters and the story and the through line of everything. And like I said, this movie isn't earned. Paul's character, Lucius, isn't earned. The reason for his journey through the film isn't earned. It makes no fucking sense. And you don't buy into his character through the whole fucking film. And once again, if you can't buy into the lead character, then the film fails right before it even really gets running. So for me, 2.5 stars. Visually, for the most part, everything looks good. Solid performances for everybody, even though Denzel's kind of doing his own thing. But Paul Mescal, it's not a... I'm attacking him super hard. It's not like he's a shitty actor. He's not. He's just lacking that Russell Crowe type lead for this role that he needs. There's something missing. It's not something you can teach, you know. It's
charisma, yeah.
You just have to have it. And right when much like when we were talking about Wicked at that first scene, that first song number, like, ooh, this might get rough, but it fixed itself out. When he goes to, I'll say, the dream sequence right early in the film, and he screams for the reason that you know, that scream felt so fucking forced. It did not feel emotional. It did not feel like earned. It felt like Actor, scream at the screen as loud as you can. Make me feel it. Nope, you just screamed at the screen. I didn't buy into your emotions. I didn't buy into what you were feeling at that moment. And at that point, it was like not even 10 minutes into the film. I was like, uh-oh, this is rough. Probably gonna get rougher. He's gonna have to work. And guess what? Fucking doesn't. So that's our non-spoiler part of this. We're gonna jump into the spoiler aspect of this now. So if you guys have not seen Gladiator 2 and you guys care to hear what we have to say, go see Gladiator 2. Come back, listen to the spoiler aspect of it, because we're going to dive into this now. But yes, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. The monkey scene. So he kills the monkey, and then the fight just stops. Like, the monkeys just stopped fighting. These wild animals, they just stopped attacking everyone in the fucking like arena.
I feel like all of it. 'Cause I mean, the first movie had the gladiators, and then one scene they added some tigers, and people like the tigers.
Well, tigers were at least real.
So this time they felt like, okay, we had tigers there. This time we'll have monkeys, and we'll have rhinos, and we'll have sharks, and we'll have. It's like, okay.
Okay, can we talk about the stupid shark scene? One, how did they fill the arena up with water without drowning all the gladiators under the arena? Because
supposedly, filling the Colosseum with water is something that they had done back in history and done these water battles. I don't know how they seal it off either. I'm not going to try to pretend.
Also, me being mean, me being me. What happened to the sharks?
But then where did the sharks go? Yeah,
where did the sharks go?
Killed them.
Fuck you, Rome. Those sharks didn't do anything wrong. Where did the sharks go? I mean,
the water. They bring the sharks there. They have big shark tanks. I don't know how that works.
I don't know.
I don't think they
I don't buy it.
even if they did naval battle. But yeah, it felt like they had this over reliance on using these CG animals, and it was just like, I guess they just didn't want to have playing Gladiator on Gladiator battles. It's like, well, that's what we liked about the first one. We'd be okay with that in this one. And if you want to have one animal scene, like, okay, we did tigers last time. This time we have this. Fine. But then they did like 3 or 4 different kinds of animals, and we're just like, okay, you just need to.
Are we also supposed to buy that once the rhino hit the wall, that the rhino was just dormant after that? That the rhino
they have each animal like for a few minutes be like, oh, look at this, and then it's like, okay, we're done with them.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, the monkeys wouldn't have stopped attacking everybody. Plus, it only looked like Peter Mensaw, which I was so mad that he died so quickly. He seemed to be the only one that fucking died in that moment. The rhino, he hits the wall, and then the rhino's just like, okay, I'm done. The sharks were the only ones that kept going. But even with the shark or the shark battle, did none of them not think that they wouldn't attack the emperors? They're at fucking eye level at that point. Now, you can call it an ego thing, like, oh, they would never attack the emperor. But it's like, motherfuckers, they're right there. They're slaves. Why wouldn't they try to attack you? Are you shocked by this? Were you shocked that they shot at you? Like, come on. Like, it's just the scenes just, they're there for spectacle, but you got to have them make sense. And then you throw in, which I saw it coming a mile away, and I'm pretty sure you did too, because you tend to catch this shit, that Pedro Pascal's dating Lucius's mom. Or they're married. I'm sorry. And it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? He's fighting his new daddy. What is going to happen here? And what I was hoping for in that scene, granted, it's on me for holding them to a standard here. You have 2 characters, because you find out that Pedro's not actually a bad guy. Pedro's actually trying to overthrow the emperor. He's actually a good guy, because you can't hate Pedro Pascal.
Well, that's just it. Is it's like they set him up at the beginning, for the very beginning. It's like, oh, he's the bad guy of the movie, and then you realize he's with Lucius' mom, and you're like, okay, where are they going with this? It's kind of like he went out and did his thing. It just happened to sack a city that had his, stepson in it. He didn't realize it,
Well, yeah, and then it's like you could have had him be like, oh, he's an asshole to Lucius's mom. So he's even more of a dick. Yeah, he's his new stepdad, but he's an asshole. It's like, oh no, he's a great guy. He's just doing his duty. And so it's like, okay, well, they're gonna have to fight. And what I was hoping for, and you're gonna know exactly the scene I'm talking about. I was hoping for something along the lines of Achilles versus Hector in Troy.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 characters. They're both not the bad guys. They're both the fan favorites, but they're gonna have to fight. And one of them is not gonna make it out. So let's have this epic built up fight that just you don't know where it's going to go. And I'm sorry, Pedro beat the shit out of Paul through that entire film. Why? Because Paul is not a good fucking fighter. He's not. There's never been a moment in that movie where I was like, this guy's fucking Maximus. No, he's not. Because Pedro beat his ass the whole fucking fight. There's so many times Pedro could have killed Lucius, and he didn't. And that fight just kind of felt flat as well. Because one thing, and once again, this is that charisma. One thing Russell Crowe's character had in Maximus is he had Jaimin Hansu. And he had the other big brute guy. He had these other gladiators who saw how Maximus was, saw how Maximus handled things, saw his leadership, saw his fighting skills. And they were like, this guy is a general. We're going to follow him. He's our leader. We're going to defend him. We're going to eat his food to make sure it's not poisonous. We believe in him. And they do the same thing with Lucius, but there's never a point in this film where Lucius has earned that. There is no Jaimin Hansu. There are guys there that look like they could be, but they don't give us any scenes with him. They give him plenty of scenes with this Ravi character, which they probably should have given it to the gladiators. So that way you bought in that these gladiators would risk their lives for Lucius throughout this whole film, but they never fucking do that. And it's just, once again, it's a missed opportunity. Why are we supposed to be buying in that Lucius is this new Maximus when through the whole film, they never make us feel that way? It's because the script needs us to believe that. The script is telling us to believe that, so that's just the way it fucking is. You have to earn that shit through this film. Maximus earned it. Lucius didn't. And that's a big problem throughout this whole film. Maybe you didn't feel that way as much as I did, but I never bought into Lucius being this champion for Denzel. I'm sorry, there's like 8 other dudes behind Lucius that could beat Lucius' ass. Why Denzel is fixed on that? Why? Because the script fucking needed it to be. And that's my problem. That's my biggest problem with this movie. Is the script.
Well, that's what I was waiting for, a scene where you find out that like what's his name? Macronus.
Denzel's character?
Where you find out he knows who Lucius is. And that's why he's like behind him, because he's like, you can put this guy back in power and I'll be on his good side and I'll be elevated, and I'll be in power too. And I was waiting for that scene, and that scene never came.
No.
And it's like, that's why I don't understand the whole journey of Lucius, because it's like his mother sent him away because people are going to try to kill him and things like this. But
pause. Let's stick on that.
Okay.
Maximus is dead maybe 15 minutes. He saved Rome. And she's like, fuck that. You're a target. Get the fuck out. Could we have not jumped ahead maybe 2-3 months and saw that it didn't get better, that now Lucius is a target? So that way it made sense that Lucilla would send Lucius away. No, it's like Maximus's body hasn't even left the fucking arena yet, and you're shipping your kid off to fucking God. It's
well, that's just it. Okay, at the end of the first Gladiator, okay, Maximus is dead. Lucilla has Lucius there, who you think could be the heir and the next Caesar or emperor, or whatever I call it. And you think he's gonna be next, and apparently all the people are on their side. All the people had kind of turned against Commodus. They were all behind Maximus. You have the Senate led by Gracchus, Derek Jacobi. You had him. Apparently, their people were behind this, trying to get this Rome back. That Marcus Aurelius's dream of a new Rome.
exactly.
But they never really explained to us how that fell apart, because then she sends him away because they'll try to kill him. But as far as I know, everybody's on board with this. And at the end of this movie,
why would they kill him? Why?
And at the end of this movie, it's like Lucius reveals his true identity to everybody and convinces them all to help build this new united Rome. And it's like, well, it's the same guy that could have done that 15 years ago, but you guys thought you should send him away. I don't know.
You killed kind of everybody who knows you're actually Lucius. So that's no different than you going, I'm the King of England. Oh, okay, that guy's the King of England. We have no fucking proof. His mom's dead. Everyone else who actually knows Lucius as Lucius is dead. But let's fucking believe him. Why? Because the fucking script says so.
Well, that's the other thing.
Okay,
So Gracchus is dead. The mom's alive. there's a mom knows, but who I guess you can't trust her. She could claim as but did Lucius have no friends or people he talked to or knew in the entire, not
I
only
guess
his own age, but in like the Roman army, like generals and people who probably saw him every day
I
were
guess
like,
not.
hey, that's Lucius.
Well, I mean, granted, he doesn't look anything like what's his name, Spencer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks nothing like. Because that's one thing Kimberly asked me. She goes, "Would it have been as bad as if they got Spencer to actually play the role?" I go. First off, he'd be less believable than Paul Mescal. Nothing
I like
against
Spencer. He's a good actor.
I like him too, but I wouldn't buy him
but
in this
he's
role
not.
either.
Yeah.
No, there's no chance he'd be able to play this role. Paul barely can play it. Spencer, love you, dude. You can't play this role either. but yeah, it's just it was so fucking frustrating because did he never tell his wife? Granted, his wife died in the beginning. That was the other thing too. She shoots at Pedro, and they just keep standing there. Oh, well, no shit. You stood on the top of a fucking pillar. You're an open target. Of course you died. But it's just this movie frustrated me, and I was so mad when Joseph Quinn died. I get it was needed for for what they were doing, but as soon as he died, I was like, well, they just went the best fucking actor in the movie.
I wish they had switched the casting and had him be the brother that lives, and he gets to act all crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was just, oh yeah, I would have loved to watch him be the crazy one.
Honestly, I think this is like, so I gave it 3.5 stars, but I think that's because once the movie started, I'm kind of like, you know what? I need to think of this as just a movie and not think of it as Gladiator 2, which is like the opposite of Wicked. I'm giving Wicked baggage it doesn't deserve, and I'm not giving Gladiator 2 baggage it should have. Which, okay, yeah.
But see, even if we do what we did there, let's say Gladiator never existed. Okay, it didn't. The same problems are still there. There's never a point where Lucius feels earned in anything he does.
Right, which is why it is like I have 5 stars for Gladiator. This one's 3.5, so it's like it's definitely a drop for me, just not as far as yours.
Also, what the fuck did Denzel think was going to happen when he shot fucking Lucilia? What did you think was going to happen, dude? You didn't think Lucius was going to come fucking find you? You didn't think Lucius was going to make a beeline for your ass? Like, in the point of a villain doing a stupid thing just to do a stupid thing, you should have killed her way sooner, and definitely not right in front of fucking Lucius. What did you think was going to happen? And then another stupid scene is you have the Praetorians. Is that the Royal Army? Yep. What's that?
Praetorians, yes.
Praetorians. So you have the Praetorians, and then you've got Pedro's army converging on each other. You've got Denzel riding a horse through the Praetorians. Okay, fine. But then you have this gladiator chasing his ass, and no one stops him. Like, I was like, wouldn't any one of these army guys stop Lucius because he's chasing Denzel at that point? No, none of them stop him. You guys just keep fucking going and doing what you're doing. It's just, there's so many hiccups in this fucking film. Also, could we not have had some conversations between Pedro and Lucius before their fight? If Lucilla can go have conversations with Lucius, why hasn't Pedro been like, dude, look, I need you to listen to me?
Like, did we ever see a moment where he found out that it was his stepson, essentially?
When Lucilla went and saw Lucius and basically said, hey, I know you're you. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. She immediately then goes to Pedro and says, my son is alive. She doesn't really outright say that Lucius is. Now, granted, that could be off screen because that's that moment where you see that fucking maid was listening in. And then the next moment, that's when they're trying to do the overthrowing. That's when they all get caught.
That's it. You missed it. That's just it. We missed that scene where he's like, oh, shit, that's what's happening. And then goes and sees him and is like, dude, I didn't know. And I mean, he might not forgive you, but there could be some kind of
why was that not a fucking scene? Also, the thing, granted, I've been pissed off about a lot of shit. Talk about the most unneeded plot point in this fucking movie. There was never a need for Maximus to be Lucius's dad. At all. There was never a need for that. Not at all. You had to throw in this line, oh, she was 14 and her husband was basically gay. So yeah, naturally, it has to be Maximus. No, fuck you. You never needed that to be a thing. Lucius, idolized Maximus in the first film. He's fucking play fighting, going, I'm Maximus, the savior of Rome. That's all you needed for Lucius to be who he needed to be. You did not have to add this Maximus is your father character. You didn't need that at all in this fucking film. It was an unnecessary, because there's never in the first film where that is even a mention. Because I went back and specifically tried to remember, like, because we knew that was in the trailer. And so we're like, okay, was there ever a line in the first Gladiator film that led us to believe that Maximus was his father? No, there isn't at all.
No, there's a line that like they knew each other, but there's never even a line that implied that they were a thing. Yeah,
but because Lucius is the same age as Maximus's boy, which means that Maximus would have had to have had sex with Lucilla and his wife, which makes Maximus look bad as a character. He's a righteous character, but based off of that means he would have had to hook up with both women around the same time. And because you made this a fucking plot point in this film, and it was not needed. Also, why was Maximus's name scratched out in the Gladiator pits? Why was his name scratched out? There was no reason for that. It's just,
it's one of those things that's like, it's kind of like that throwaway line, like when they were talking about why they had to send away Lucius. It's kind of like, the dream of this new Rome is dead, and like people were rejecting this, and it almost feels like, they scratched his name out because like he was considered like this, almost like a villain now at this point. But it's like they skimmed over that too much. I agree.
Like the only reason I can think of why they would scratch his name out is because he overthrew an emperor, and they don't want the other gladiators to like idolize that. Maybe, but it's never explained, and it's just there's too much of and pitch meeting does this all the time, where the guy's pitching is like, well, why? How did they escape that, or why did that? Well, so the movie can happen, and there's so much of this movie where, well, why? So the movie can happen, and there's no connective tissue through this film that allows this movie to flow with just a concept of like, and Ridley Scott, like, it makes me wonder, like, dude, what happened to you? Like, yes, visually you can make things look great. You can. But because I don't think he wrote this. Did he? No, he didn't write this. But there's so much wrong with the script. And honestly, if it didn't look as good and the rest of the cast wasn't as solid, then this would have gotten even a lower score. But it still looked great. Also, brief acknowledgement, Matt Lucas lost a shit ton of weight. You know who Matt Lucas is, right? You don't know who Matt Lucas is? He's the guy who was the announcer for the arena. He's in a lot of things, but he was a very heavy set actor. And dude lost a lot of weight. Good for you, Matt Lucas, first off, because you looked great in this. Because all the time I was like, well, that guy kind of looks like Matt Lucas. And I was like, but it's not, because Matt Lucas is at least 80 to 100 pounds heavier. And I was like, oh shit, that is him. Good job, bro. Yeah, this one of the biggest disappointments. If Joker Folie à Deux had not come out this year, this would have been my biggest disappointment of the year. This movie missed at every fucking moment that it could have hit. It was a huge ass miss for me. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that my 3 most disappointed films was Ghostbusters, Joker 2, and Gladiator 2, I'm like, fuck you, Brian. But here we are. And I
will say that this for me actually exactly was what I expected. It's like I went into this with lowered expectations. Even when I saw trailers and stuff like that, I'm like, I think it'll have some fun scenes, but I think it's going to be this. And this, I watched it, I'm like, yep, that's what I expected.
I didn't expect it to be Gladiator. I didn't. I wasn't blinded enough to think, oh, this is going to be just as good. No, my brain never went there. But I expected it to still be, that was pretty damn good. That's in my top 10 for the year. Not this is barely missing out of my bottom 10 of the year because it is so aimlessly, like you said, unfocused. The lead, we for everyone who's still watching, we have new awards this year for least valuable player and most valuable player. Paul's definitely in my least valuable player voting. But this movie just made me mad. I remember we watched it and we went to dinner, and Kimberly was like, "So what'd you think?" And I was like, "Why don't you tell me first?" Because I obviously, I get very wordy, and I was like, "I don't want to overtake this whole conversation." So she goes, "It was fine. It was good." She said, "What about you?" And I started going into it, and then I kind of turned to her. I was like, "Yeah, you're right." I was like, I was so fucking frustrated watching this movie, and I spent most of the film just am I much like how you felt with Wicked, where everyone's loving and praising this thing, but you are having issues with it? Is there something wrong with me? Am I missing something? That's what I was feeling while watching Gladiator. It's am I just not in the right mood for this? Am I in a bad mood? I don't think I'm in a bad mood, but I'm seeing all these people praising this film, and I'm seeing everything fucking wrong with this movie. Is it me? Am I the problem? No, fuck you. This movie's the problem.
I was missing something because I was sitting in a screening of Wicked on Monday, and I'm like,
you told me this, and I was like, oh no.
45 minutes into the movie, and I find out that there's a screening of Gladiator. It's one of those secret movie things, but you can find out ahead of time if you watch the East Coast. Yeah. So I find out, Gladiator 2 is going to start screening in the next auditorium in about 10 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I have tickets for a Wicked screen on Wednesday too, so I can still see it early, but I'm going to go see Gladiator tonight. So I get up and leave, go see Gladiator, and I'm halfway through this movie going, I should have stayed in Wicked.
Yeah, because you sent me that message. You're like, yeah, I'm about 30, 40 minutes in the Wicked. I wasn't super feeling it. I'm going to go see Gladiator. And I'm like, when the fuck did Gladiator get a screen? And I was like, secret movie. Oh, if I knew that was a secret movie, I fucking would have went. God damn it. Because every time it's a secret movie, it's always some indie.
Well, it's always indie dramas and stuff like that.
Or
and
Apple movie.
1 out of every 10, they throw in something people actually want so that you'll go, I'll take a chance next time. And then it'll be some independent shit.
Yeah, and I'm about good 30 plus minutes away from the theater that was doing the secret movie. So when you told me that, I was like, son of a bitch. But you told me, I was like, how the fuck are you watching Gladiator and Wicked on Monday, you asshole? And I was just like, oh, the secret movie. And now there's a secret movie tomorrow, and everyone's like, oh, what's it gonna be? Yeah, and everyone's like, I was like, oh yeah, they're not giving it away now because everyone knew it was Gladiator beforehand. They haven't even put the runtime or the rating or anything down yet. There's supposed to be a secret movie tomorrow as well. Some people might think it'd be Moana just because it comes out that week as well, but I don't think it will. They're not going to release that.
My theaters are showing is December 9th, and we're pretty sure it's that Baby Girl, which I don't care about. So
yeah, but anything you want to add for Gladiator 2?
No, we covered it.
Okay. Hold on real quick. Very, very, very end of Gladiator 2. Kimberly was like, I kind of thought that Russell Crowe's voice was going to come over when he's like, Father, talk to me. And she thought it was Crowe.
You know what? They went to almost like that
the dreamy
thing. I thought we were going to see his Lucilla and Maximus walking up that road, he's getting to see them together again.
We were going to get the Star Wars Force Ghost scene.
Essentially,
that would have been the tip of the fucking iceberg for me.
I honestly think if Russell Crowe had still been in shape, that he wouldn't be like, who's this fat dude? I think they would have done that. I totally think they would have filmed that scene.
Because Kimberly said the same thing. I was like, there's no way they were gonna get Russell Crowe for this. He's not in the same. She goes, well, they could have done like a deep fake, DH thing. And I was like, oh god. I was like, if they would have done that, I would have fucking hated that so damn much. I was like, they could have done a voice. They could have just have Russell do a voiceover thing. But it was like they're doing the weird sky thing over Lucius's head.
Should have had him do it in his Zeus voice.
What's that?
Should have had him do it in his Zeus voice.
Yes. Yes. But anyway, what was your guys' thoughts on Gladiator 2? Are you guys super high on it? Some people are thinking Denzel deserves an Oscar nomination for this. I'm sorry, he's basically just doing Training Day. No. I love Denzel, but no, not for this. This is like fucking, back in the day when he should have got nominated for Remember the Titans, and then they didn't do anything, and now they're going to make it up to him next year, probably for Black Panther 3. But anyway, did you guys like this? Did you guys enjoy it, or are you guys kind of in my boat or in Brian's boat where it was like it was fine, or me where it's like I fucking hated it? Let us know in the comments below. Like I said, our review for Wicked is out right now. Coming up next, Moana 2 is coming out this week, but it is Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all this kind of stuff. Brian and I are going to be pretty fucking busy with our actual jobs until you guys start getting us paid for this. We got to do other things. So we may or may not have a review for Moana 2. If anything, it might be kind of more closer towards the end of the year for Moana 2.
I'm not in a rush to see it, so yeah.
I'm really not either. I'm trying to think what the next big film is that's coming up. Is it Craven?
For us, yeah.
Listen, because Nosferatu is around Christmas, so it might be.
Nosferatu is actually Christmas Day.
Yeah.
We have the only things we have coming out now. It's a lot of small films.
There's that Jack Black Santa movie that comes out this next week, but I don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah, no, there's like Y2K, there's Carry On, stuff like that. Yeah, Craven's the next one that we might do a review for.
Honestly, Carry On actually looks interesting.
It looks interesting, but it's not something we'll do.
But it's Netflix, so. Yeah. But I mean, I that would probably be the next big one for me. But yeah, it's probably gonna be Craven. But we are planning something for Christmas. We haven't nailed it down yet. We know you guys really enjoyed the Halloween episode or Halloween series that we did. So we are gonna do something for Christmas. We just haven't nailed down what we're gonna do yet. It might just be one episode. I don't think we're gonna do a series. We'll probably just do one big Christmas episode. But we're nearing the end of the year, and of course we'll have our big end of the year best, worst, most disappointing, most surprising films of the year. Hey, newsflash, I'm probably gonna be talking about this again on that and disappointing. Shocker, since I already kind of gave it away. But we are nearing the end of the year, and of course then we'll have our big Movie Crusaders award show. I think our 4th year now doing it. So we got plenty of stuff coming, guys, so please stay tuned. But until next time, I'm Sean Wascrew. That is Brian Michaels. We are the Movie Crusaders. In case we don't see you, go watch some movies and go have some fun.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.